Hey, how you guys doing? It's your boy Beastly back at it again with another episode in our How To Dynasty series. I do apologize. I have not been able to crank out as many of these episodes as I would have liked over the last week or two because I've been very busy doing other experimental videos, whether it's testing Tier 4 Talent Developer, testing other perks with that series, or with my new series, the Potential Prodigy series, where I show you generally what stats to look for the best dev trait players most of the time. So if you have any interest in those other two series, or if you're new to my content, I'm Basically Gaming. I appreciate you guys. I'm a variety content creator who will be spreading his wings out very soon. But for the time being, I am enjoying CFB and enjoying dropping some knowledge bombs on all you guys. As always, huge special shout out to every single one of you guys who show up for the streams. I stream almost every single day at around 6 o'clock CST, or the fam who's in the Discord. I think we're like 200 or 300 deep there. Appreciate you guys. And obviously, of course, for the special people who leave comments, show love on the videos, share them, like them, and much, much more. I appreciate every single one of you guys for supporting me any way you guys do by taking time out your very busy schedules to watch my silly internet videos. So appreciate you guys, all that love. Quit your yapping, Beastly. What's the point of the video? So if you've been on my streams before, you've seen this, but a lot of my audience doesn't actually watch the stream, so I figured I might as well make a video out this just so everyone else can see it. But I don't think I will ever again see a more dominant sim performance in my life than what I just witnessed. So in my Rice rebuild, which again, all the episodes are on my channel. If you want to go watch it, you can. Maybe I should do a playlist down below. Actually, comment question of the day very early in this video. Should I go back and make a playlist for all of my different stream series? That way you can just simply like binge all the Rice videos back to back, or binge all the Penn State videos, or all the stuff like that. But all the Vanderbilt episodes, stuff like that. So let me know. But yeah, this was the year 2043 for my Rice rebuild, and we destroyed Baylor. Like this was a beating of ungodly proportion, right? Here's the stats. We put up 35 points on them in the fourth quarter, right? I'll cover the player stats momentarily, but we destroyed them. This is easily the most dominant sim performance I have ever seen. And because I'm going to get the obligatory, of course you did that, streamer, or of course you did that, content creator, you played the AI, because I knew I'd receive those obligatory comments, here is the clip of me fast simming the entire game right now. So as you guys can see, I am clearly in the thing. I load up, I pause the game, I click jump ahead, end of game, and here we go. We start out the lead with a 7-point score early, then we stop them a few times, get the ball back, score again, 14 zip going to the second quarter. Then we stop them several more times in the red zone, crazy. Then we score again going into halftime. It is 20, or actually not halftime, going after halftime at the end of the third quarter. It is 38-3. Now it's 45-3, 52-3. And because Xbox records in 30-second increments, here's the second half of the footage. Okay, it resumes right here. 59-3, 66-3, 73-3, and I'm not sure if you guys caught that. I'm gonna pause it and try and get that for you real quick, if it's even possible. But we actually could have scored again, right? As you guys can see, up 70 points. If I had my aggressiveness, which, minor spoilers, if I had my stats just slightly changed, we could have beat BYU by over 100 points. I'm not exaggerating. I'll show you momentarily, but we had the ball on like the 10 or 9 yard line, whatever that is, and we could have scored. We could have put 80 points on BYU, but our coach decides, you know what, 70 is good enough. Let's take our knee and get off the field. And that's what we do. Completely fast simmed. Never played it once at all. Here's the national championship celebration where I at Coordinator U win my like 25th natty. I don't have the exact number. I'll probably count in this video, but we win the natty. There you go. That's the game. So just in case, well, Beastly, of course you won in Fast Sim by 70 points because you clearly won your game, as I hear you angrily typing in my comments with Dorito dust all over your chubby fingers. No, I don't force win my games. I think you're a fucking loser if you do that. I think if you force win and or force loss games and you don't tell people that, I think you're a loser, whether you're doing it for a stream or a video or whatnot. At least if you're open about it, so be it. But I don't do that nonsense, as you guys can see. I never have and never will. No force wins, didn't play the game. You guys saw it for yourself. And to be fair, it wasn't like BYU got like special treatment. I destroyed them by 70 points. Duke, I beat by multiple scores. Notre Dame, I beat by 21 points. A&M, I slaughtered by 31 points. 2 weeks prior, I played A&M. I beat them by a ton of points. You guys can see Bama, I destroyed. Arkansas, that's right, that's how it's pronounced. Fight me in the comments. The Arkansas Razorbacks lost by so many points. Texas didn't even show up that week, 45-7. What are we doing? The Gamecocks, more like they got cold cocked. They lost 62-0. You guys can see we really just didn't. No one except for Kentucky, ironically enough, and UCLA actually put up any fight. But yeah, it's just, we mollywopped every single person on our schedule, and it wasn't particularly close. And you may be wondering, Beastly, what is the point of showing us the arguably what is probably the most dominant sim performance ever? And here's why. If you ever watched any of my videos in any of my series, whether it's the Potential Prodigy series, whether it's me testing out perks and doing research and, you know, experiments and stuff like that, or it's my How To Dynasty series, general tips and tricks for how to improve at Dynasty, this is kind of the amalgamation of when you do everything successfully, right? If you follow my rules and you follow everything I generally give you, the tips and tricks, this is what to expect, right? I didn't just miraculously score 70 points on BYU. I did it because I had a very good playbook. Well, aside from having the best playbooks, I also had the right settings. Besides having the right settings, I also had the right players. How did I get the right players? I know how to recruit, right? How do I upgrade the players that I even recruit to get them this good? This is kind of more like a send-off video, like a final episode of like a sitcom where like everything's kind of all coming together, where I more or less did everything perfectly, and these were the rewards, going 16-0, and now I want to show you the stats. For full disclosure, I don't play with injuries on. I always turn injuries off because I primarily sim. If you guys don't know, players are more likely to be injured in sim than they are when you regularly play. I don't understand why EA codes their game that way. It's been that way for 8 or 9 years at this point. It's just kind of become an EA staple. So the stats you see on your screen are not nonsense. Their starting quarterback, an 88 overall redshirt junior, threw for 144 yards and 3 interceptions. And then the coach pulled him and put the redshirt freshman, 79 overall in, who threw for 86 yards and 4 INTs. That's right. They threw 7 interceptions across 2 quarterbacks. At first, when I saw this stat line, I thought the starter got hurt and the backup came in. No, I don't play with injuries on. So this is the first time I've ever seen the AI have the awareness to be like, hey, we're getting blown the fuck out. Let's just pull the starters. Which also, shout out to EA. I didn't know that was in this game. Right? I know that's what people do in real life, but I didn't know that was in this game. We were destroying them by so much that they put the poor freshman in and he got destroyed. 7 interceptions is insane. Let's go to the rushing stat, shall we? Their starting running back had 12 carries for 33 yards, averaging 2.8 yards per carry. Their backup running back had 1 yard per carry on 6 carries for 6 yards and had a fumble. What a productive day he had. Obviously, through receiving, they really didn't do much because the quarterbacks were just giving me apple turnovers left, right, and center. Looking like Jameis Winston peaked out right there, just going for 30 for 30 in one game. And then their defense more or less really didn't do hardly anything to us. Obviously, we won by 70 points. But yeah, this was just the most insane sim game I've ever seen. Let's go look at our stats momentarily. We have a 94 overall QB named Doug Trucks. 200 yards, 2 tutties, no INTs. Basically, you scored 70 points. How did your quarterback do so bad? Well, the reason why is because on the ground, my starting running back averaged 8.1 yards per carry, 14 carries for 113 yards, 4 tutties. The backup running back, yeah, that's right. Even he got some touches. 9.6 yards per carry, 10 carries for 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. And my quarterback even hopped in here with 16 carries, 21 yards, 1.3 yards per carry. Big whoop, big whoop. But he had 2 touchdowns. We had 6 total rushing touchdowns in this game. 6. Insane, obviously, because we didn't pass for too much. Our receivers really didn't do too much. But then look at the defense. This is arguably the best defense I've ever made. Right? We have 5 or 6 different players with either a stack or half a sack, right? My starting right end, 2.5 sacks. My starting Sam, 2 sacks. My starting DTs both had a sack. My starting left edge and my backup left edge both got a sack. My middle linebacker got half a sack. We were just going crazy with the sacks, which makes sense why we were getting all these INTs, is because the pressure we were causing was just immense. And then look at my corners, bro. Vontree's Crook was absolutely diabolical with 3 INTs this game. I understand why his last name is Crook, because he is out here just swindling people left, right, and center. Then we have Chauncey Atkins, Geno Atkins' great grandson over here with 2 interceptions. Ofisa Savage, he was an absolute savage in this game with an INT and 2 sacks. Dude was basically doing a triple crown for a linebacker, getting interceptions, getting sacks, getting TFLs, just pretty much dude had a metric stat for everything, just insane. And then our like 3rd or 4th string corner got an INT. It was like a mixture of Jameis Winston and current Tua with CTE, just tossing the ball. It was insane. You will probably never see a sim game this well. Comment question of the day, number 2 for you guys. And we'll even include the emoji just for the people who are this far into the video. Down below, leave a rice emoji in your comment. That way I know you've watched this far into the video. And for the comment question, what is the most dominant national championship game you have ever seen for your team in sim? Obviously, we're not going to count you playing the games because I could score 1,000,000 points on the AI. It's not very hard. But without your own human interaction, not playing the moments, strictly simming, whether it's fast sim or menu sim, just what is the highest score you've ever seen? Because this 70-point beatdown has to take the cake. I will probably never see a score this lopsided ever again. And just so you guys can see for yourselves, it wasn't like BYU was like an 82 overall team. They're a 90, right? BYU's a decent, solid squad who went 15-2. Right? They earned their chance to be in that game, and they got absolutely destroyed. I guess I can go ahead and show you the roster of the players we have. I'm not going to go into like every single, detail for every single stat for every single player, but here's our roster. If you're curious, I'm going to just quickly scroll down. If you want to pause the video and see stats and see stuff, you can. But out of, I think, 70 something people we have on this roster, 50 of them are either elite or star dev. It is insane the amount of just development we have on this team because your boy knows how to recruit. And more importantly, not just do I know how to recruit, I know how to upgrade. As you guys can see, we have just 99s, 98s, 96s. We have just players for days ready, waiting in the, in the back just to pull up to just do some unspeakable things to other teams. Just disgusting roster, just filled with so many dev traits. I absolutely love it. I think easily this is the best roster I've ever put together. And just because there's going to be that guy in the comments like Beastly, it's just one outlier year, bro. You're flexing your stats, which by the way, I streamed the entire series, so if you want to go watch it, you can. Here's my coaching stats across all the seasons I've done, right? I have a 90% win-loss ratio. I have 18 winning seasons. In the playoffs, I'm 40-6. I have an 87 playoff win rate. I have won 11 national championship games, which is just insane. I have won 14 conference championships, being in the SEC, so it's not like I'm in a cupcake conference. I have 156 first-round picks. I've gotten 240 people drafted. Good Lord, I've had a top 5 recruiting class 14 times, and you guys can see bottom right corner. Against ranked opponents, I'm 107-14. In bowl games, I'm 41-6. Unfortunately, my rival only says 2-0 because when I moved conferences with Rice, I didn't bring their rivals with me. So unfortunately, I didn't have like 15 years just beating up our rivals, but that number would be fairly high if I dragged our rivals with us. Again, career win-loss record of 263-28. Just absolutely disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting proportions. But if you want to see it for yourself, here you go. This is not a drill. Again, I've streamed a vast majority of this on my channel, so if you want to go watch it live, you can. But we beat BYU by 70 points. The previous year, we played Clemson, arguably the second best playbook in the game. We beat them 31-10. Then we played Nebraska. We beat them by 21 points. Then we beat Penn State the previous year. That's like, I'm not doing the math, like 30-something points. We played Clemson again, beat them by 18 points. We played UCLA, which is actually a very close game, I just noticed, to the BYU game, where we beat BYU 73-3. We beat UCLA 69-3. Just 2 of the biggest beatdowns in CFB history. I have that done all in sim. Ohio State, my baby, my favorite playbook in the game. Spoiler alert, we beat them 41-20, and then we beat Georgia 31-3. Oh my God. All my Falcons fans are gonna hate me. I'm a Patriots fan if you didn't know this. So the fact that I saw 31-3 just reminded me of 28-3. That number haunts them, and it's Georgia, so it's the college football team in that state. That's really funny. Not the point. Then we have 2 gapping years right here. And then we just destroyed Michigan 44-26, and then we destroyed Ole Miss 41-36. Ironically, our closest natty, that was a 5-point play, which is pretty cool. But yeah, since basically 2029, we have more or less been winning every natty. And specifically in the last 10 years, we have won, I believe the math is 10. Excuse me. We've won 10 natties in 12 years. We've just unspeakable things with this dynasty. So if you're ever curious about any tips, any tricks, any way to improve, I assure you the proof is in the pudding. I talk a lot of shit, but I also back up with a lot of shit. So everything I do can be proven, and again, it speaks for itself. If you guys don't know or haven't watched my playbook video, this is kind of where the irony comes here. Is, as you guys know, Ohio State, favorite playbook, best playbook in the game, 4-3 multiple, best playbook in the game, those two staples. But here's the sad part. I beat BYU by 70 points with only 75 aggressiveness. Meaning, if you don't know, I thought BYU was going to give me a headache, so I lowered my aggressiveness. If I would have set this to 100 both ways, I would have beat BYU by 100 points. So even though a 70-point win is excessively overkill, it could have been worse, right? If I would have known that BYU was cheeks and not decent, I would have cranked this to 100 and probably dropped like 100 and something points. Yeah, it's just disgusting. Like, this is disgusting. And I'm going to get the obligatory comments. What's the coach build? Again, episode 1 of the series, How to Dynasty series. It's the same coach build for everything except for 2 small tweaks. Very, very, very small tweaks. So if you guys don't know this, because if you don't play a lot of Dynasty or whatnot, after about 10 years into Sim, 10 to 12 years, all the real offensive and defensive coordinators basically retire. So after about 10 to 12 years, you can't find real or at least decent coordinators, which sucks because you're stuck with regular motivators, regular recruiters, and regular talent developers. Now, head coaches who are architects or talent developers or strategists or elite recruiters or master motivators or what have you, head coaches do exist that far down the road. But what happens is if you like forcibly get them fired and then you hire them as your OC or DC, eventually, because you're winning so much with this, play style, with this, with all the stuff that you have, you're constantly winning, resulting in your coordinators leaving you every 2 to 3 years, which is super fucking annoying. It's really annoying being so successful that they just bounce in like 2 or 3 years. Hence why I named myself Coordinator U, because I was just mass printing NFL coaches left, right, and center. And so the only way to really even try to give yourself a chance to get talent developers or elite recruiters this many years into Dynasty is with 2 very specific perks. Those perks being bundled discount, everything you have gets reduced price for your coordinator. So for example, elite recruiter for me costs 12, but for my OC, it only cost him 10. And then for my DC, because my OC and me have it, it'll be 8 for him. This perk drastically reduces the price of so many things. And the cheaper things are, the more likely the AI is to buy the stuff, right? Because why would the AI buy 12 points for 1 tier of Master Motivator when the AI could buy 2 points in Talent Developer or 2 points of Elite Recruiter or what have you? So this perk, very, 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 very useful. The other perk is Inside Track, where everything costs 20 points cheaper. The reason why this perk is very important is because it makes things free. So because my OC has Talent Developer and me having Talent Developer, my DC, it's free. Now, obviously, he doesn't meet the criteria of spending 50 points in Recruiter because he's retarded. But if he did have that 50 points spent in Recruiter, he would have Talent Developer for free. And it's just not Talent Developer. As you guys can see with Elite Recruiter, it's also free. And since it's free, the AI doesn't have to, micromanage his points, and it'll just buy it. And the moment the AI buys it, it more or less gives you a 1 in 3 chance of buying the right things. Now, this gentleman, Nelson Stewart, he's going to get fired in the offseason or the next year after I get done with this year because, like an idiot, he's going down tactician. So for me, it wouldn't be a 1 in 3 chance of him buying a proper skill that I would like him to have. For this guy, it'd be a 1 in 4. Right? Because he has a 1 in 4 chance of dumping his points into Tactician, into Recruiter, into Talent Developer Motivator. The odds are not very high to begin with, and that's kind of the problem with Elijah Robinson over here. This dingus spent everything he had on Elite Recruiter, and even though he's an offensive coordinator, right? Offensive coordinator, he only bought 2 things in Talent Developer, and that was both defense. Right? That is the only downside to the strat, is that you physically can't control where they go. And for college football 27, EA, I really, really, really hope you give me a way of not fully like choosing what the guys buy, but I would like to like nudge my coordinators, right? Like I would love there to be some button or something I can do to be like, hey man, you're spending way too much in Elite Recruiter. Can you try to prioritize talent developer more? Just something small like that, because having a 1 in 3 chance to buy the stuff you want sounds great. But when you get stuff like this, where the guy fully goes recruiter and does nothing in motivator and nothing in talent developer, that sucks. I've done this several times. I've tested this several times. I've had dynasties where they like fully commit to talent developer, and it's so nice having maxed out OCs, DCs, and myself with talent developer. But then other times I'll have max master motivators or max elite recruiters. It's super frustrating. So even though this is the best chance you have of getting a talent developer / elite recruiter 10 to 15 years down the road, it's super not consistent. And yeah, the build's pretty much the exact same as it is in the first video. So those minor tweaks, but yeah, that's basically how it goes. And yeah, this is going to be a send-off to the series. I'm not going to go ahead and, say set in stone, oh, I will never upload a How To Dynasty video again. No, obviously College Football 27 is going to eventually come out, and I will have to bring the series back for that. But I think for the most part, I've covered everything I need to cover in the series. I've covered recruiting. I've covered how to upgrade your players. I've covered the best playbooks, the best settings. I've covered pretty much everything I could think of. I've covered perks. I've kind of covered everything. So unless something new comes to mind or you guys want to see something down the road, this is probably going to be the final episode for at least the short time being of How To Dynasty. And I want to appreciate you guys just for a moment for changing my life in just such a dramatic way. These videos have done such unbelievably well, and I genuinely can't say this enough, but from the bottom of my heart, I absolutely appreciate every single one of you guys who've watched any of my videos, whether it's, the new videos, the old videos. I appreciate you guys. I didn't expect my college videos to do very well, and just they were doing so well, and I'm absolutely blessed. I appreciate you guys. And without further ado, let's get into our shoutouts. Oopsies, I done forgot one thing. Rice, by the way, just for all you guys who are curious, Rice has the best pipelines in the game for small schools. I don't know who at EA works at Rice or who at EA likes Rice, but there is no reason why a 1 to 1.5 star school has this unethically good pipelines. If you're curious, the best pipelines in the game there is a specific order, but I'm not going to name them in any order just to speed this up. That being North Texas, East Texas, Central Florida, South Florida, North California, South California, Metro Atlanta. Those are the best pipelines in the game. And as you guys can see, Rice has them all, except for Metro Atlanta. That is all they're missing. Now, I think I went Southwest Texas for this one, just to give me the entire state of Texas. But in reality, I should have went Metro Atlanta, and they would literally have every pipeline in the game that's good, right? They have Texas, which is good for offensive and defensive line. They have Florida, which is really good for corners and receivers. And they even have Cali, which is great for quarterbacks, right? Obviously, anything can spawn anywhere generally, but a bulk of the best players that spawn for like receivers and corners and safeties, running backs are in Central / Florida. Most linemen are in Texas. It's just how the game generally operates. Obviously, outliers do exist, but yeah, Rice has the most disgusting pipelines I've ever seen for a small school. And because I've chose to upgrade my pipelines, my entire state of Texas my North Texas is a 5, my East Texas is also a 5, my Southwest is a 3. I believe I have Central Florida as also a 3 or a 2. It's just the pipelines for this, along with the build and everything else, was just so disgusting, and I feel like I had to include that in the video. So there you go. Now, let's get to the shoutouts. As always, I hope you have a wonderful morning, evening, night, afternoon, or day, depending on whatever time you watch my content in the future. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Drop me a follow or sub on Twitch. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you can, please become a member. Memberships help the channel out a ton. You get early access to all my videos, whether it's a few hours early, days early, or even weeks early. You do get extra pull and votes on my Discord. You get higher recommendations for videos, whether there's something you want to see me test or do or stream. Those get higher up on the chain. So the channel has a bunch of perks, and memberships do help me out a ton. Shout out to all the members you see on the screen right now. I absolutely appreciate each and every single one of you guys. And yeah, guys, I will see you when I see you. Deuces.